Okay, now this is going to be a special treat now. We're going to have audience participation in this one. Okay, the next one is Stephany Barton, and we're going to have her husband introduce her because he knows her better than anybody. Hopefully. Okay, you go ahead and tell her about Stephany,
Okay.
and then we'll be ready to go. Okay. And was that loud enough? Some of them said a while ago you had trouble hearing. Is that better? Okay.
Well, I get the honor of introducing my wife, Stephany. She was trained as a nurse, so she's got a great scientific background, and she worked in the field of nursing for a while. And then it kind of pushed her and encouraged her, but she obviously already had the gift and the skill and the talent to do what she does, which is communicate with the angels and loved ones on the other side, and that's what she does full-time now and has for probably 8 or 10 years. She's also got a couple books out now. Many of you may know her from her Facebook posts, which we turned into a book. This is all of the Facebook inspirational quotes that she did last year, and you can get this at her booth over here. And then she's also got a children's book, which is to help children and adults too introduce the archangels, some of the archangels. And then she also does meditations. Many of you probably get those from Facebook, and she's got 2 of those CDs. And she does private readings too, which is the main thing that she does to help people. So today she'll be working with Archangel Michael, probably give a little speech, and then do some private sessions for the audience here.
Thank you. I appreciate him doing that. That was kind of on the fly, so that worked out really nicely. All right, so in the course description, I said there was going to be audience participation, and it's going to start right now. Stand up. It's 10:30 in the morning. I'm kind of nervous, so I think we need to get this energy rolling, Archangel Michael style. So I'm going to say something, and I need you to answer what I say, okay? Give me an M. Give me an I. Give me a C. Give me an H. Give me an A. Give me an E. Give me an L. What's that spell? Michael. Who do we love? Michael. Go Michael! Okay, you can sit down now. When you're working with Archangel Michael, you can't be shy, and you can't do anything small. It can't be quiet and contained. Archangel Michael is big and bold and strong, so I thought, we need to pep things up and have a little Michael cheer. So thank you all for being here. I'm Stephany, and I'm a little bit nervous, but this is so good. I'm really glad and tremendously honored to be here sharing this space with each one of you today. My husband and I came down from Kansas City, and I'm actually one of the presenters who lives the closest, but it took us the longest to get here. So we've got 3 small children, and I've factored that each dependent child you put in the car prolongs the travel time by at least an hour and a half. So we left last Tuesday, and we got here yesterday. No, we made it all in one day. It actually went fairly well. But it was very cute. I don't think Arkansas has ever been so warmly greeted as it was by my children yesterday. Arkansas! And even our 1-year-old little boy, he was in the back, and he said, Arkansas. It was really, really sweet. But I want to tell you a little bit about my development and my maturation process into the work that I do today. And it started a long, long time ago. I was actually raised in a fundamental Baptist church. And I was considering the term fundamental. And I don't quite know where that came from because there was nothing fun about my church when I was growing up. Nothing. Every Sunday was kind of like, when you pick those flowers and you pop the petals off and he loves me not. That was my relationship with God when I was growing up, going to the church. It was depending on how you'd behaved the week before or what was going on. And he loves me not. Oh, great, God loves me this week, look. So it was really quite a harrowing experience as far as developing a concept with God, and it was certainly never presented to me to develop an inner relationship with an inner divine. God was out here, certainly never presented as being in here. So there were 3 basic rules to my church growing up, and I wanted to share those kind of with you, what those were. The first rule was, if you don't understand it, it's evil. Anybody heard that rule in their church too? If you don't understand it, it's got to be evil. The second thing was, if it's different, it's got to be evil. Sorry about that. And then the third one was, if it's not in our church, it's got to be evil. So basically, it's what's right here is what's right, and that's the end of the story. Now, I don't like to dwell on negative things. I always, like to bring out the positives in everything, because I believe every experience has a gift inherent in that. So there was something that the church was very, very positive about, really positive about, and it's that we were the only ones going to heaven. We were positive about that. All the rest of them, nope, they're not making it. We're positive that we're right. We're positive that we're sure. So it was a really very limiting experience as far as understanding God and religion and all that as I was growing up. Well, around the age of 6, 7, I started having some unusual occurrences. I could see people that other people didn't seem to notice, and information would come to me that I couldn't validate or verify through normal everyday senses. And it happened for a number of years, and I never talked about it. I really wasn't sure what to make of it, and I didn't sense that there would be a lot of support in sharing these experiences, so I just kind of kept quiet with it. And then around the age of 9, I decided I needed to find out what was happening and at least gain a little bit more understanding into my experiences. So I spoke with my parents and then one of the people from church, and I was met with a really warm reception, or not. I remember sitting there and was told I was seeing demons and that Satan had a toehold on me, and that this was a very bad thing, and I needed to just not see this anymore and not experience it. Now, I didn't want to have any kind of connections with Satan, and I certainly didn't want my soul to burn in fire for all of eternity, so I immediately shut it all down. Like, I don't see anything. I was scared. And so from that moment forward, I didn't have those experiences anymore, not until later. So I went to college, and I went the traditional route. I got a degree in nursing. So I knew I wanted to help people, and so that seemed to be the most practical, worldly way to apply the desires that I had in my heart, which, again, was to help people. And I was just really good nurse, focused on the facts and the figures, and loved my patients and cared for each one of them sincerely. But it was very good about doing all the right things as far as the professional aspects of it. And I didn't feel like I was doing enough as I was working as a nurse. It was nice to be able to have all the sophisticated technology and the whistles and bells and, preserve a life. But yet I felt like there was something that was missing. And I discovered that it was my spirit that I was missing, and the spirit of healing that was really lacking in my professional practice. So I decided that I needed to be open again to some of the experiences I'd had as a child. Well, it came about in an interesting way. I'd never heard of channeling. If someone would have asked me in elementary school what channeling was, I probably would have thought it had something to do with my dad and the remote control. I had no clue what it was. But one Saturday, it was after I'd been working as a nurse for a number of years. I was out walking, and I walked past a New Age metaphysical bookstore, and I stopped at the door, and I stood there for quite a bit of time, and I thought, I don't know what's inside there. I don't understand everything that's in there. It could be evil. Some of that old religious stuff came up. But then there was an even stronger force that was saying, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can go in and you can explore. So as I was standing there, I noticed there was a flyer. It was a green piece of paper with some black type on it. And it said, today, angel readings. And it had a picture of a lady. And I thought, oh, I wonder what that's about. Because in the Baptist church, there was not a lot of exposure we had to angels. They were sometimes these fiery beings who would come down and help God wipe out all the people who weren't following the rules. Then there was the angel that announced to Mary, the traditional stories, but I really didn't have a very good concept of what the angels were or how they could help. But when I saw that sign, I thought, okay, I can do this. I can be open to this, and I can leave my fear from the past behind and explore it and try something new. So I went in, and there was the lady sitting there. And it was a very interesting experience. She gave me a message that my angels loved me. And, it was kind of a generic message, but it was exactly what I needed to hear and the way in which I needed to hear it. If she would have gone off into some depth or some huge tangent, I may not have been able to accept that. But just the concept that there was this force of love and light, or this being of light who was with me and loved me, versus the willy-nilly, capricious God and beings, spirit beings that I'd been raised with, it felt good. It felt supportive. It felt comforting. So I was glad that I had had that experience. Well, as I said, then she mentioned to me that she was doing a channeling the next night, and she was going to be channeling the goddess Isis. Now, I didn't know what channeling was, so I thought, well, the Isis, that sounds kind of cool. I guess I could go to a channeling. That would be okay. So I ended up going to the channeling the next night, and it was really interesting. It wasn't what I expected because I really didn't know what to expect, but it was a group of people gathered around, and she just brought through some messages. So it was a really good experience for me to be open to that type of work, and in a very supportive and a very light-hearted manner. Again, I think if it would have been something huge and earth-shattering, I probably would have run out of the room because some of that old fear would have come up. But because it was so loving and so simple, it was very meaningful for me. So after that event, I was able to see a couple of speakers talking about angels, and I really started pursuing learning more and trying to understand more and figure out just who the angels are. And it was the most rewarding learning I had ever undertaken. But the cool thing about it really wasn't learning, and I think this is true for everyone. It wasn't learning, it was remembering. Because we all know these answers. We all have the answers within us. And so the process of connecting is truly more a process of remembering and reconnecting versus trying to gain something new. So I opened up and I started to develop a wonderful relationship with the Archangel Michael. Now, I have to tell you, it was a little bit of a secret affair for a while because I was still, when I initially started my practice as a medium and as an intuitive, I was still very shy about it, and not that I was embarrassed by what I did, but yet I was very sensitive. I live in the heart of the country, and I was a successful nurse and working a great job. Why would I then go be a psychic? It seemed a little bit backwards. So I was very reserved about my work and about the connections I was making. And I wanted to share, of course, I was very enthusiastic about that, but yet again, a little bit cautious and a little bit hesitant. But there's Archangel Michael. And I loved working with him and delivering messages from him and connecting with him. Just, he's amazing. But I wasn't, again, very out about it. So we had, like I said, sort of a clandestine affair, Archangel Michael and I. I kept him in the closet with me. But finally, I realized that if I was really going to honor the work that I was doing and be in line with the integrity of Archangel Michael, I couldn't stay hidden anymore. It wasn't right for me, and it certainly wasn't in line with his energy. So I started speaking about it and telling people I can give messages from Archangel Michael. And eventually it culminated in back home. I've done a couple of Archangel Michael channelings where people ask questions just as we'll do today. And then I just pull the messages through from Archangel Michael. So once I stepped out and started doing it, just the amount of support and love and the receptivity was amazing. And then, you kick yourself because why didn't I do this sooner? But we do it in the time that we're supposed to do it, in the divine right time. So how many of you have worked with Archangel Michael? A lot of you have. He's awesome. Isn't he the man? He's wonderful. So I wanted to give you a couple of descriptions of Archangel Michael, and I can sum his energy up in 3 ways, in 3 words. And he inspired me, of course, with these adjectives. The first characteristic of Archangel Michael is that he's very bold. So if you're looking for courage, if you're looking for fortitude, for clarity, and really getting out there and speaking, Archangel Michael will make you bold. Archangel Michael also has an intensity. So if you're needing to focus, if you really need to concentrate and get into the depth of something, or see something through from start to finish and then begin the next project, if you're really wanting to boost your spiritual practice, the intensity that Archangel Michael brings forth is very powerful. So he's bold and he's intense. And then the third thing is that he's full of flavor. And by that I mean he has a wonderful sense of humor. And he's very, very humorous, very wise, just so full and so rich. Working with his energy is just, it's wonderful because it will enliven you on many levels. So you can see things differently, you can hear things differently. The whole world seems to come to life when you allow that energy to connect. And so he's really very powerful. So after I'm done today, I want each of you to call him forth and to connect with that part of him that he represents within you, the boldness and the intensity and the ability to see things through, and to not hide your light, to not suppress your truth, but really to speak and to be confident, to be bold in doing that. That's what Archangel Michael is about. So there were a couple of messages just as a general that he wanted me to share with everyone today, and then we'll get to doing the individual questions. The first thing, and this came through to me yesterday as we were driving down here. I didn't know quite when he would give me the group messages, but that's when it happens in the car. The first thing that he wants each of us to know that is vitally important is that although there is a collective that's gathered here today, he says we are all each individually responsible for our work. So there are no coattails to ride to enlightenment. If you're going to do it, you got to do it for yourself. And the angels are here to help us help ourselves. So ultimately, it is a personal choice, and it takes our personal energy to accomplish the work that we're here to accomplish. And we have powerful support, but each of us has to do it. What Archangel Michael showed me was a garden that's just in full bloom, beautiful. But the roses can't bloom just because the daisies have bloomed. And the roses can't bloom just because the tulips have bloomed. The roses, each rose, has to use its own energy and in its own time with its own force to bloom. And that's the same with us. We're all gathered in this beautiful garden of spirit, coming together to celebrate, and yet we have to bloom into our fullness in our time and in the way that's best and right for us. So we're all here together to support one another, but ultimately we have to take responsibility for our own work. That was one thing that's really important to remember. The other thing he wanted me to emphasize is that when we're in a group like this that's geared towards spirituality, it's really easy to look at another person and to see their light and to experience love for them. It flows, it's effortless. But what Archangel Michael was challenging me, and then wanted to extend to everyone here today, is see that light in everybody, even the people from the fundamental church, even the people that you don't know or strangers you pass on the street. Make it your personal mission, make it your personal work to every single person you encounter. See right past the physical and right into the inner light of God that is within them. And if you can do that, then you're going to see more of that in yourself. And the more that you see in yourself, the more readily you'll see it in the people you meet. What he says is that whatever we see within, we see in another. And what we see in another is a reflection of what's within, because we are one. So when you leave this room today, consciously choose to look at someone and to see not their face and not their body, but to see their light. And then if somebody cuts you off in the elevator, stop and look at them and consciously choose to see their light too. Michael says that's very important right now, that we each practice that and really adhere to that. The other thing that Michael really is challenging us to do after this weekend is to start cleaning out the closets of fear that are in the recesses and the corners of our mind. So if there's something that has been holding you back, or if there's a part of you that you just haven't wanted to deal with yet, maybe you know you need to call and schedule a doctor's appointment, or maybe you've got a relationship from the past you know you need to really let go of or to forgive. Archangel Michael wants to fortify and work with each one of us this weekend and in the coming weeks to help us clean out the closets of our mind so that we can be totally enlightened and totally light from within. So see the light, clear out the closets, and do your work. Those would be Michael's 3 messages for all of you moving forward as a group, just the collective. So, as far as asking questions, I think what we're going to do, I didn't know how it would work. That's one thing that's interesting about doing readings. I can't have a plan. They won't let me have a plan. I didn't know if we would do note cards. I didn't know. So Dolores and I were talking. I think what we're going to do, and I've never done this before, so bear with me. I say that every talk. I've never done this before because every talk is different from the talk before. But what I'll have you guys do is anyone who's interested in getting a message, or and let's do it based upon questions. So if you have a question for Archangel Michael, what is the next step in my path, or what can I do? Anything you have. What's the best guacamole bean dip recipe? I don't know. Whatever you want to ask Archangel Michael, you ask him. He's got the answers. He's the man. He says he won't do sporting events. So don't ask about sporting events. And no lottery numbers either. That's off limits today. So whatever it is you want to ask, you guys can just line up here in front of the microphone, and I'll give just short messages for those of you who come forward. And speak into the microphone, please, so that we can all hear the question, and then I'll give his response. Does anybody want a message? Don't be shy. It's Archangel Michael. You can't be shy. Come on up. And then, obviously, more people can come up, too. But, yes, so first tell me your name.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, thanks for coming up and for being first.
Cool, thank you. Thanks for being here today. I'm in the process of building a house, and I've just moved in, but there are quite a few things that we moved in a little early before things were finished, and I'm concerned about the little punch list that still needs to be done and the things, and I'm just wanting them to be done in such a timely manner. And so, is it going to take long?
Archangel Michael, he says, time. It'll be done when it's time. But take the time factor out of it. Don't say, is it going to be done in a timely manner? Instead, Archangel Michael is saying it's affirm that it's done. It's done. It's done. Right.
Well, I'll know he'll spar him on.
Well, and the other thing he's mentioning is that part of this process for you is developing patience, that you'd really been desiring to work on that. Yes. So I guarantee that even as you're doing the little repairs, he's saying that there will be glitches and speed bumps. It's to cultivate your patience. And so embrace those instead of resisting those or finding irritation with those. Just say, okay, good, I get to practice patience, and I get to see that there is a divine time that's unfolding as I watch this process and experience this. Okay. But the other thing, too, is that Michael's saying that sometimes you have a tendency, he says that sometimes it's like you'll rush through the meal just so you can get to dessert. And in doing so, sometimes you'll miss some of the really good stuff. And he says this process of finishing the house is an opportunity for you to slow down and appreciate the beauty, because your home is beautiful and it's what you've wanted. Yeah. So appreciate it as it's unfolding. Okay. Instead of just worried about the finished product.
Well, thank you.
Yes, yes.
It's taken a while, so I'm just eager.
And it'll be done. That's the important thing. But again, savor this experience and be present with it and really soak it in, because this is what you've asked for. Yes. This is what you've wanted. And Michael does work with you, and he's shown me the big hawks. Like, see, that's a sign from him that he's with you. Okay. So watch for those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My body is called Richard, and I'm here because you sort of gave me the question in terms of where am I on my spiritual pathway, and what is the next step?
Archangel Michael says this is the time where it's sort of like you're almost to the peak of the mountain. This is the culmination of lifetimes of learning. And so the best way to further yourself on your path is to start writing down and to understand and to conceptualize how you could teach what you know so deeply within you. So this is a time of writing and to start to develop a curriculum so that you can teach and inspire other people to do their own work. You call forth an inner teacher for the people that you meet with, which Archangel Michael says is a celebrated quality. So to encourage and to empower the inner teacher to come forward, that's what the next step is, and that the step now is. And Archangel Michael says that's the only step that you ever need take henceforth, is to call forth the inner teacher. And you will absolutely help people do that.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name's Lavina, and my husband passed away recently, and so I'm on a new path, and I don't know where this path is going, and I don't know how to get there.
Okay, so what Archangel Michael is saying is this is not the time to try to second guess yourself or to figure out exactly where you're going. This is truly because of your energy level and the experiences you've just had. It's absolutely an opportunity to practice moment to moment. What do I need right now? And what do I need right now? There is not to be an agenda so much as there is to be an openness to the ways in which Spirit can manifest itself in your life in each moment. Archangel Michael says this is a time just to plant a garden and to get your hands on the earth and to listen to music and to do the things that soothe your soul. You're not in a position right now, he says, to be committing yourself or to planning long-term affairs because they wouldn't pan out anyway. Instead, just give yourself permission to not have a plan. Give yourself permission to just be and to do the things you love during this time so that you can refortify and rebalance your energies so that when it is time to do something, you'll be clear and focused and ready to move forward. Archangel Michael is wrapping you with this really beautiful blue light, and it's very tender and it's very nurturing. And he says that sometimes it takes strength to rest, and he will give you the strength to rest and to just be still so that you can start to move forward. Also, he's shown me in the sacral chakra and in the solar plexus, so kind of in your gut, there's a lot of self-questioning and self-doubt and certainly feeling lost because of your experience. But I want you to know that over the next couple of hours, Archangel Michael will help balance that and open that again so you can feel safe to feel, and you can feel a sense of having control of your life again and your emotions. But do know that he is nurturing and loving and supportive of you right now, and just allowing yourself to be and to experience love in whatever form it takes in any given moment. So it's okay, you don't need to have a plan. And I know that sometimes it's hard, but it's more important that you plan for each moment and be open in each moment than to try to smush yourself into a box and adhere to some kind of plan, he says.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. You are so loved. Just
I feel very loved.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Colleen.
Yes.
I started a new path last year, and I just want to know that I am on the right path. And if I am, will there be a group or individuals that I can work with close by?
Okay, so the cool thing is, so first of all, Archangel Michael strikes the word right. He says there's no right path. You're on a path that is going to facilitate tremendous growth for you right now. But then he's laughing because he says, well, the catch is any path will do that for you. So stop playing this game of, is this the right thing for me to do? Because he says sometimes you'll use that as a little bit of a delay tactic, or it will diffuse your energy. Instead of just saying, I'm doing this is what I'm doing, I embrace this fully. That's one thing he wants you to do, because he says you second guess too much, and so no more of that. Just say, I'm on this path, and this is a good path. I love this path. That's truly, truly where he wants you to put your energy as far as this concept of the right path. This is the path, and I'm gonna live it. But he says, yes, you're doing the work you need to do right now. However, as far as the groups and the individual, it starts first more with individual, but he's also speaking to being a little bit more forward-thinking as far as your approach to working with people. this would be the time to start using some of the internet services and to have more of a virtual experience instead of just feeling like it has to be in the very traditional way of approaching helping and healing people. Also, just interestingly, Archangel Michael shows me an owl, and he's putting the owl on your shoulder. And it's about your inner wisdom, but also about you have an ability to see things in the dark, so to speak, or to see the hidden truths that other people sometimes aren't willing to look at. And that's one of your greatest strengths, and he'll help you to cultivate that. And it's a connection to the goddess Athena, too. But definitely be on the lookout for the owls and quit questioning the path. Instead, live the path, walk the path, embrace the path, and then know that you're here to just shine. And things are going to be really good over the next several months. So embrace that for sure.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Hello.
Good
My
morning.
name is Beverly Keppel.
What's the first name?
Beverly.
Beverly. Thanks for being up here.
Thank you. I'd like to know in my day-to-day readings with clients, what can I do to improve my reads? Are there any methods or habits I need to develop to back that up?
Oh, you're going to love this. Archangel Michael says it's you. It's taking care of you. So instead of trying to intellectualize or take a better technique, or what Michael wants you to do is before you start your sessions, do something for you. Go outside for a few minutes, buy yourself some flowers, get yourself something to drink that you've been craving. Like, indulge you and honor your light and connect to your light first. And then the words you say are going to be insignificant compared to the love that you embody, that you'll call forth in the people you work with. What you're saying and doing, Archangel Michael says, that those are nice, but it's window dressing. It's really about the presence that you embody that helps people to feel comfortable and to release. So he says the more open you are and the more interconnected you are, the more powerful your connection with your clients is going to be. Phenomenally good. About 12 years ago, Archangel Michael says there was something that had caused you to question your confidence or kind of lose a little bit of steam 12, 13 years ago. And he says, forget the past, forgive that, and move forward full speed ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's also, like around your heart chakra and your solar plexus too, on that side, the right side, maybe feeling like the masculine energy of expressing love and feeling confident in acting on your love is a little bit deficient. So Archangel Michael will work with you in being bold in the expression of your love and really help you be vocal in your appreciation of all the good that's in your life, but seeing it too. And your clairvoyance is opening up. He says, you've been working with that. That's in the bag. Yeah, the clairvoyance is opening up. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dana. I'm a massage therapist. I do a lot of energy work. And for about a year, I felt like that there's some new level or plateau that I need to move into, but I don't know exactly what that is. And so my question also is, what is the next step on my path?
Okay, Archangel Michael is saying you're starting to have the concept about that it all really is thought, that it's all really happening on the level of thought. But one of the things that you were feeling a little bit limited by with your massage practice is that it was the same stuff coming over and over and over and over and over again. And he says what was flawed in that system is that you were seeing the errors instead of seeing the truth. And so as you're moving forward on your path, I think what's going to happen is you're going to hold the space so clearly for perfect health and radiant clarity and inner light that's going to be so clear to you that it will give people this boost they need to believe it's possible for themselves. So really what you're starting to work as is a visionary, and you see the truth, and then you are there to guide each person on their path until they get to that place where they can see the truth for themselves too. So your guide, and that's what he says you're moving into, is a guide where you can help them identify these are the seeming problems, here's the truth. And he'll really help you with that. Now, yes, Michael works with you every day, and I know Raphael is the archangel with healing, but there's such a easy communication style you have with people, and sometimes you have to say things that seem a little bit unsettling, but he says you have to speak your truth, And that's really important. And that's important with your family too, because Michael's saying over the next couple of years there's going to be like some dust is shaken up, and you're going to help the dust settle by being in the presence of truth. And he blesses you in that work and fortifies you for sure too. And Archangel Michael is saying, just a very gentle reminder, although it's really not very gentle, that you need to walk and do really good self-care with your body. That sometimes you're wearing the energy that you work with, so get out and move, and then that'll open you to hearing the voice of your own Holy Spirit. You hear a lot, and he says, so pay attention to what you hear. So yeah, you're a visionary.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Good morning.
My name's Sheila. I just want to know if I made the right choice about Jesse.
Well, now there again, there's that word he says. It was the best choice at that time with all the information you had. So be at peace with the choice, he says. It's not about the right or wrong, rightness or wrongness of the choice. It's about finding peace with the choice. And Archangel Michael says only you can come to terms with that. So as long as you're okay with it, then it's an okay decision. If you have guilt or if you question it, then that's going to create conflict in your energy field, and then you'll attract that. So Archangel Michael says, you be at peace with it, and you be right with it, and you be clear with it, and then the universe will adhere to your thoughts and to your ideas and your beliefs about that. But there's no inherent rightness or wrongness to the decision. It's what you make of it. And so he wants you to believe in yourself, and believe in the timing of it, and just to move forward clearly from this point.
Does he know if she's going to be okay? Does he know? He knows, but he won't tell me.
You cannot judge he says that okay is not for you to judge.
Yeah.
What you are projecting as being okay may be torture to another person, he says.
Yeah.
She has her path that she will walk, and she has her experiences that she will experience. Those are a function of her thoughts and her beliefs and her desires. It is not in your highest and best good to judge that experience as being right or wrong. It's merely just to hold the highest space for her and to see light in her as you see it in yourself, he says.
Okay.
Yes. Archangel Michael, he's like kicking you out of the nest here. You got to start. He says you know these things and you question it, so it's time to really start adhering to what you know is true. Yes, I am making the decision that I believe in, and so because I believe in it, I'm clear about it. And then with Jessie too, she's going to walk her path and she's going to have her experiences, but I see light in her. I know Christ is with her, and so it is. Yes. Yeah. Start writing messages down from Michael yourself, he says. Because you get him and you hear him, so start writing him down.
Hi.
Good morning.
My name's Doreen.
Doreen.
My question is, my daughter has moved back from Texas. She's been there for 15 years with her family, and now that she's home for 3 years, she's been very depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And she's committed suicide twice. She's been in hospitals, rehabs, and now it's showing in her kids. I don't know what to do, and she won't talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first thing that he is saying, just in a kind of to paint the background a little bit for you, is that there are energies and lifetimes that are coming all to it's like they're all colluding together with your daughter. So what seems like one thing on the surface with her depression and her issues is really a compilation of lifetimes of emotions that she hasn't been able to deal with. And it's a little bit overwhelming for her. So what Archangel Michael is saying is that your job in being with her and being connected with her is to call forth within yourself the ability to be in the moment and to do one thing at a time and to make one step every day towards loving yourself or believing in yourself or affirming your inner light. And when you're doing that for yourself, talk about it out loud to her and share with her what you're doing to align yourself with your Holy Spirit and to connect with your Holy Spirit. And he says that will then encourage her and help to open this space for her to think differently. Again, he's saying the biggest enemy here, to use that term, is her own mind, that she's just caught in that so strongly, she's just chasing her tail. But if you can shine a light that says there's a different way of doing this, there's a different way to be, then it's going to help her at least be open to choosing different thoughts. He says too, like getting the Law of Attraction books or something and just having them out so that if she picks them up and reads them, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. Just availing her to those resources would be beneficial to her, but also helpful for you too. He says you have to do your work and tell her about your work as a means of planting seeds and ideas and thoughts for her to be able to feel like she can be different. But yes, I'll hold the light for her and see the light in her, but also understand that this is a whole huge lifetime's worth of experiences that are coming together right now, and she will get through it. He says she will get through it, and it's important that you do your work for you, even in the midst of all this, he says. And yes, he is very strongly with you and your whole family too. There's never been a time when he's not. He says even from the time you were a child, you felt a connection with angels and with him in particular. And he says absolutely yes, that he is there always, always. Thank you.
Hello, my
Good
name's
morning.
Amy.
Amy.
I had a life change about 3 years ago, and I was also an RN. Haven't been working, got sick, and have been on a different path. More so recently, I believe that the path I'm on is towards enlightenment, and I have strong feelings I'm doing the right thing, but I also feel as if there's something I'm waiting for. I don't know if it's the next step, what I should be doing. Can you help me with that at all?
He's saying it's kind of the concept of being 8 months pregnant. It's like you're feeling like something's going to be
Yes.
given birth. That's what
Yes.
energetically where I see it.
Yes.
And it is actually, and he says the reason he chose that analogy is because it's in the sacral chakra. There's a creative project that you'll be a part of, where it's very colorful and very kinesthetic and hands-on. And no, you don't know what it is yet. You're not supposed to know it. You're supposed to experience it and discover it for yourself. But it will be birthed from the sacral chakra or a very creative outlet. And it's not writing, but it's the use of color and the using vibrational frequencies and how those come together through the visible light wave spectrum of color and how those can help people heal and align. It's going to be very rich and very sensory and sensual, he says. But yes, it will be what it is that you're feeling is missing right now.
Okay.
But he's also saying that what that is symbolic of is that there's sometimes when you're, well, so he says you tend to be a little bit up here, you know, kind of airy-fairy.
That's true.
But what feels like it's missing is kind of this grounding of the energy.
Yes.
And saying, you know, I can go outside and I can smell the flowers, and I can feel the warm breeze, and it feels good. So to allow yourself to be in these lower chakras and to not judge that or resist that, but to embrace and open that, that's the piece that's missing.
Okay.
And then I think when you do that, oh yeah, this new inspiration and idea for this art and this color you'll do will be right there.
Wonderful.
So,
okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Archangel Michael's so funny. He's just like bouncing up and down around you because he just loves working with you and empowering you and helping you to feel strong. Yeah. So again, just it's so nice to be up here in these upper realms, but we are here to do our work.
Yes.
And so be here, he says.
Okay. Wonderful.
So, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I'm Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Similar to you, I shut down my knowingness in my early 20s. There was nothing I could do. I always got myself in trouble by trying to fix it. So I shut it down. And about 6 months ago, I asked to be able to see again. And so it's, I do. How do I strengthen that? And I've been at a crossroads. I mean, what do I do with this?
As far as continuing to open up your vision, Archangel Michael says that is, he says, but you humans sometimes think that that's some kind of, it's not under your control. It just happens haphazard, and it's seemingly random. And he says, but it's not. It truly is a result of your thinking, conscious or unconscious. So he is encouraging you with the full force of your consciousness, with all of your mind and with your heart, just affirm, I see clearly. And that will not just be with your intuitive vision, it'll just be with all of who you are. You're going to see clearly. And so he says to continue to affirm that and to believe that and to make that the sole thought in your mind is that you can clearly see. And the more you practice that and the more you believe that and the more you think that, then it continues to grow and to open. He says it's absolutely under your control and by your discretion that those gifts will continue to be birthed. So as far as the path, yes, you're keep going. The crossroads, he says, is you see when you close your eyes and you see the crossroads, you see a path that's light and you see one that's not. And he says to follow the path of light, and you'll know that that's what's supportive of your growth and in line with what it is you're thinking and believing and knowing is true for you. There's a lot of celebration. Michael says, welcome home, that stepping back into your spirit. He's laughing. He says, okay, you can say that was the right choice. So yes, that was the right choice. Yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Missy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I relate so completely to your personal story of feeling this connection from early on with the other side and everything metaphysical. Was exposed to the Nazarene church and fundamentalist upbringing and told that a lot of that was, of the devil and all of that. And have always wanted to go into a teaching, health profession, therapy to help people. Started off wanting to be a psychologist and then ended up in speech pathology and eventually just working with kids with learning disabilities in general. But I've never forgotten that part of me that loves everything metaphysical, and I've continued to read and study and go to conferences like this. But I feel like I'm at a point now, and I actually have the opportunity right now to pursue a different path. And I've wondered about integration of that. I have that fear kind of back here a little bit of, being in Arkansas, the Bible Belt, and how do I integrate all this? How do I continue to help people? But like you, I felt like something was missing from it. So I was wondering if he could provide any answers with that.
Oh, full speed ahead, he says. Full speed ahead. And you have to understand that the pacing of it will be exactly what's in your highest and best good, the unfoldment of the process. So you'll learn new things, and you'll pick up a new concept, and you'll uncover a new idea. And it will be at such a rate that it's palatable for you, but also sustainable for your practice, he says. So yes, just keep growing and keep putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. And you'll know. He just says you know that you'll know when it's time to put this into the mix, and then it's time to add this tool, and it's time to utilize this resource. There's no other way to language it, he says, except just you will know. It is through your Holy Spirit, through your divine connection, that you will know when it's right, or when it's appropriate to put the pieces in line. I would also tell you, too, that, it's not Archangel Michael, but Archangel Metatron has a really strong connection with you.
I couldn't hear what you...
Metatron, the Archangel.
Okay.
And I can tell you about him afterwards, but Metatron has a really powerful connection with you.
Okay.
And Metatron works with special kids, sensitive kids, really intuitive kids, and he could help you with your practice and with some of your work to be able to see the spirit of these children and to help them manifest their spirit into the physical world. Because Archangel Michael is saying a lot of what you've been seeing and experiencing lately is that it's not just your integration, but it's the integration of the people you work with, where there's very much this high-level spiritual energy, but it's really tough to bring it down.
Yeah.
And so Michael and Metatron together can help you. If you have this creative energy, maybe you take a music lesson, or if you have this desire to lead, then maybe you take over a Girl Scout troop. You know what I mean? He'll help you take these very strong spiritual principles and apply them and channel them into a very healthy way in the physical world.
That would be wonderful.
Yes, and that's what Metatron and Michael together, you got M&M. Michael's the hard outer coating, and Metatron's the chocolate in the middle.
This is funny because back in 6th grade, there was a box that you could put your little questions in if you had any psychological kind of questions. And a friend of mine, we were both Missy, and we were called M&Ms.
That's
Ask
cool.
M&M.
That's the M&Ms.
That's weird.
You got Michael and Metatron, I think. So yes,
Okay.
yes, you're doing it. You're
Thank
doing
you.
it.
Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
Yes, thank you. Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Crystal.
Hi.
I've been having lots of dreams, and when I wake up in the morning and look them up or try to analyze them, they're consistently saying, utilize your talent, you need to be using your talent. What is that? I've been trying to figure it out within and asking without, and I'm clueless as to what this talent is that keeps being urged.
Michael says you have a lot of, well, he calls it a counselor, like being a counselor, where you can look at a person and you're very clairvoyant too. And that's probably why the dreams are so strong. That is why the dreams are so strong, he says. But to be able to look at a person and to see where their alignment is, or kind of how they stand energetically, and then to be able to write that and to communicate and express that to them, and then help them take the steps they need to realign themselves with their own truth. He says that's what the talent is. It's your vision, it's seeing. And so to be able to see and to communicate with people, this is what I'm seeing right now, and here's where we need to get you. Here's some choices you could make or some steps you could take to grow. He says that's the talent. It's your vision. That's your talent, and it's so strong. Really embrace that, and you'll be speaking to people and leading, and I see you really stepping into some significant power. It's the power of spirit, and that's awesome. So yeah, you're just gonna full speed ahead, he says.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name
Good
is
morning.
Lindsay. I'm currently pursuing a career working with children, and I'm wondering what kind of setting working with children I should pursue, like whether it be daycare or one-on-one.
Archangel Michael is saying home is where the heart is. So he says if you could find something that has like a home-based, where you could go to the homes or work with children in their own environment, that would really give you a whole new level of understanding as to the care that you can provide and the vision that you have. You will learn, and Archangel Michael says the ultimate goal is to learn as much as you can about yourself through these experiences that you have with the children, but to focus on the home. And Archangel Michael says there's a lot of clearing going on in your heart right now, that you've been kind of keeping yourself at arm's length as far as the love that you'll express for yourself, or the unconditional acceptance of who you are. And so Michael wants you to open your heart and just to affirm, I am, and I love who I am, and I embrace that. That's very good. And again, he's laughing, says that's the right choice. Self-love is the right choice. But do, over the next couple of days, kind of think about that and take those words with you. I am love, and I love myself. And he says, great good you'll do in the world, one heart at a time. And that's what he shows me is, this is really a beautiful image, but he shows me like a light, and like you'll touch the light of love in the hearts of the children you work with, so that they can feel that light too. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very good. Am I doing good on, I gotta. Last two, okay. Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. I felt compelled to come and ask about my brother. He has MS, and I don't know why. I just was led to come and ask you what I can do for him.
Archangel Michael says this is for you to speak to him about your concept of spirit and your belief in God and your relationship with Source. That there is something within your brother that has cut himself off from that goodness and isn't quite ready to see his own inner divinity or his own inner light. And so Archangel Michael says this contract, so to speak, that you have with your brother and with this third party, which would be the illness, is for you to really speak of God, to speak of love, to speak to him. And you will really, it will grow your spirit, and it will grow your level of trust and your passion for the divine and your passion for your own Holy Spirit. And then it will be very inspiring to your brother too. Yes, you will bless him in ways that you can't even comprehend right now when you speak of love with him and when you embody that for him. There's great good that will unfold as a result. Yes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carolyn.
Carolyn.
I need to know what my next step on my path is. I've had a very structured career, and I'm ready for just about anything except that. That embraces my spirituality.
Well, okay, so here again, Archangel Michael is speaking about the concept of sort of being a coach or a counselor, that the experiences you've had in your structured life actually will bear good fruit in your spiritual world. And so here's the interesting thing. Archangel Michael is saying there's a lot of metaphysical people or spiritual people who have so many different interests, they're just all over the place, and so that's hard for them to like focus in on one thing and feel competent or successful in that one thing. What he is speaking of is sort of being a spiritual coach for spiritual teachers or for spiritual practitioners, where you help them consolidate and focus their practice so that they can be really successful and very clear about their mission, and then able to communicate that with others instead of, I do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, H, I, J, like help them to focus their energies really succinctly and then communicate that out in the world. You're going to help people tremendously, but you'll help the helpers, is what Archangel Michael's saying. And you'll intuit. Say, for example, a person comes to you and they do Reiki and they do yoga and they work with crystals. You will be able to intuit what resonates most strongly with their spirit and say, okay, the yoga feels very strong, so let's focus on this and cultivate this instead of, dispersing the energy amongst the other modalities. You're going to be good. I'm excited for you. Thank you for coming up. All right, an hour was too short. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you being here, and check out all the good stuff that's here. As I said, I feel honored to be here amongst all these wonderful people. But go out and see the light, and then grow your own garden. And know
I think she did a wonderful job answering the questions.
Okay.